MJ Movie Reviews back again with another Happy Holidays Halloween movie review. Man, I mean, seriously, I mean this. I am having too much fun with these Happy Holiday Halloween movie reviews, man. This is great. Okay, so now I'm coming with my movie review of, not this one, but that one. Did I get it right? Yeah. Pet Sematary 2. And that would be spelled out TWO. 2. Not Look Who's Talking TOO. 2. Okay? Alright, now you guys got it. Man, Pet Sematary 2. Okay, where do I begin with Pet Sematary 2? First off, let me say that this is the very case of monetary sequel, unnecessary sequel, wasn't needed, and I don't particularly think anybody wanted it nor asked for it. But I think Pet Sematary 1 did financially well at the box office, so I'm pretty sure Paramount probably ordered this movie. Now, of course, let's go with the backstory of my experience with Pet Sematary 2. I saw Pet Sematary 2 theatrically when it was out. That film came out, I believe it was either the end of summer or fall of 1992, if I remember right. But either way, I believe I might have just turned 11 when this film had come out. I was either 10 or I had just turned 11 when this film had come out. And me and my best friend and his older sister, she was a nice big sis, and she took us all to the drive-in, place called Miles Drive-In, which is now a bunch of condos. It doesn't exist anymore. And they had a double feature of The Perfect Weapon with Jeff Speakman. We went to go see Pet. We actually, as a matter of fact, I believe The Perfect Weapon was already on video by the time, but for some reason Miles Drive-In still, they used to do stuff like that back then. But either way, we saw Pet Sematary 2 at the drive-in. And we watched it out the back of my best friend's, his older brother's truck, because he had this Blazer. And we popped the trunk down and we sat in the back, and we watched Pet Sematary. We hooked the thing up to the car and we watched Pet Sematary 2. So, you know, I have fond memories of this movie. I haven't sat and watched it in a very long time, but at the time when we saw the picture, I'm not sure how my older friend's sister felt about it. She was like about 21 or 22, so she was probably just like, whatever. But I liked it. My best friend, he's not really into horror pictures, but I think, you know, at the time, I think he was just kind of like, it's cool, whatever. You know, I enjoyed the picture. And even at that time, I was such a movie buff that I recognized a lot of the problems. Not nearly as much as I recognize the problems with it now. But I did see that there was problems with the story. I'm going to get into that. Now, I haven't watched Pet Sematary 2 in years. I think I might have seen it on AMC like back in 2006 or 2007. I watched it for like a hot second, and then I had to like go to work or something when I was in college. But I haven't seen it. I haven't sat and watched it from beginning to end in a very long. All these movies, I haven't done that in a while. What did I think upon rewatching it? Okay, let me be honest. This movie's bad, and we're not talking Michael Jackson bad. I mean bad, like not good. Like it's bad. It's just not good. It's an inferior sequel. It's not a good movie. It is not at all. It's not scary. It does not have any of the creepiness or the eeriness or just nothing. It retains nothing from the original. That's why I started off saying that this is the very example of monetary unnecessary sequel. At least what it feels like to me in watching the movie, it feels like that it was another movie. It was written as another movie, and somebody who has money said, well, Pet Sematary was a financial hit, so let's turn this script that we got dusted off and sprinkle Pet Sematary throughout it. That's what it feels like to me. I'm not saying that's true, but that's what the movie feels like. The movie stars Edward Furlong, fresh off Terminator 2, Anthony Gilbert Edwards, before ER and after Revenge of the Nerds and Top Gun, Clancy Highlander Brown, Kurgan. The those are the three guys who carry this movie, and also Tom Hanks' best friend from Big shows up in it as a school bully. Those of us who are old school, you would know who I'm talking about. He was Tom Hanks' best friend in Big back in the day. I used to love Big. Digressing, but and not just because the piano scene. But either way, Edward Furlong's mom, she's an actress. She gets killed on the set, and that was Anthony Edwards' wife. So they're traumatized, and they think it's a good idea to leave Los Angeles and move to the town. Lo and behold, where Louis Creed had lost his son and his wife, and all that stuff went down in the first movie. And then ensues Pet Sematary 2. Like I said, it's just a bad movie. It's just poorly written. It's not very good. Now, let me be clear in this. I understand that this movie is bad. But let me tell you, dude, I enjoy the living hell out of this movie. This movie is so much fun. It's bad, but it's fun. This is the very example of it's so bad that it's good. And I tell you, there are 3 things that make this movie good. Well, maybe 4, okay? Clancy Brown. Clancy Brown, look, this is my only interpretation. I think that everybody who made this knew that it was crap. Everybody knew it was crap. So they said, let's hire Clancy Brown. Because this Gus, abusive stepdad character who comes back from the dead, he's the only one who can sell it. And boy, does Clancy Brown. He's basically he's playing Kurgan from Highlander all over again. But he's so much fun to watch, man. He's great. Anthony Edwards he tends to play, like you look at him in Gilbert in Revenge of the Nerds, or Goose in Top Gun. Anthony Edwards is very good. And I tell you, I love this man. And I don't mean that in a Brokeback Mountain kind of way, but I just mean as an actor. I think Anthony Edwards is very much one of the most underappreciated character actors. I mean, Anthony Edwards has something where he has a sweetness to him. He has like a sentimental, genuine sweetness, aura about him. So he's the counterbalance to Clancy Brown, and I've seen interviews with Clancy Brown, and he's a very nice man. But he can really tap into his evil side when he plays these roles. So, and really they're set up in the movie as adversaries. So, to have Clancy Brown from Highlander and to have Gilbert, Goose, facing off with Kurgan from Highlander, I mean, that was the perfect dark and light. Perfect. Those two sell the movie. They keep it. Anthony Edwards balances the sentimental thing of Jeff losing his kid. Because Edward Furlong, I think, was like 12 or 13. So he was kind of incapable as an actor to really sell the anguish and the pain of losing his mother. So Anthony Edwards kind of anchors that and keeps that going for him. He keeps Edward Furlong kind of on track. Clancy Brown really pumps up the evil Grand Guignard aspect of the movie, right? And then you just got the bat-esque craziness of like the gore. And there's just like just weird imagery in this movie that makes absolutely no freaking sense at all. But it looks like they just threw it in there because it was crazy. I mean, and there's even weird times in the movie where there's like these strange edits where I give you a prime example. There's a scene where Anthony Edwards is starting to catch on that something's not right in this town. The dog, which Clancy Brown is the abusive stepdad, and he's beating the heck out of his fat stepson, who he just hates, and he just likes to torture out of pure sadism delight. He just enjoys verbally antagonizing and mentally abusing this poor child, and then he murders his dog. So either way, they bring the dog back from the dead, just like Gage in the first film. And, Anthony Edwards is catching on that, okay, the blood results are saying the dog is dead, so something ain't right here, man. This is freaking me out. So either way, Anthony Edwards gets his trusty old pistol, his 6-shooter, right? And he's going to go to bed, right? So he locks the door. He's all creeped out because he's watching his ex-wife's movie. He can't stop thinking about his ex-wife. Him and his son are estranged, and you got this dead dog, and something ain't right. Everything's going weird, and it's freaking him out. So he goes to bed with his gun, right? He walks past the door. They're looking for the dog that's come back from the grave, like Church, right? And it comes around the corner, and then all of a sudden, it just turns blue. They do a close-up of the dog's eyes, and then, like, Anthony Edwards is in the bed. Now, granted, I understand he was in his robe. He locked the door. It was at night, so he was going to bed. There's not even a transition of actually showing him going like, you don't even get that. It just does this weird cut, and then all of a sudden, it's like a dream. And it does it, like, straight up like an episode of, like, the Cosbys or the Family Ties, where, like, you know, they do that weird imagery where it kind of does that little wavy look to the visual look to indicate that it's turning into a dream. They do that, and I was just like, what? I mean, I thought it was retarded at the time when I saw it, and I still think it's a retarded transition. You know, but this movie does not care. It's more concerned with just grand guignol and letting Clancy Brown just run loose in this movie. And then it's like, Anthony Edwards is making love to his dead wife, right? And then it turns into a freaking dog head. And the goofiest looking dog head. We're not saying that it actually even looks like brilliant puppetry. It looks like literally they went to the Halloween costume store and put a dog head, a fake dog head on some stripper, and she's going like this. I mean, I know Anthony Edwards was probably on set like, what the hell? I got to pay the mortgage for my house, so I'll do this. But my God, I don't ever want to talk about this movie. I hope my kids don't see this. I know he doesn't want his kids to see this film. Probably not. And then there's like another scene, and where Furlong has a weird dream too, where like the room is stretching, and he's doing like this, and his mom is like in a wheelchair. And again, it's that goofy dog head that comes back again. It's like, what is with this goofy dog head? Okay, Zoe is his friend's dog, Edward Furlong's friend's dog, but why does Edward Furlong's mom turn into Zoe? It makes no sense. I don't think they care. They just said, let's just throw in some freaky, bizarre imagery. And Anthony Edwards wakes up, and I guess he was gonna screw the dog, I guess. I don't know. But that sets up that now Zoe and Anthony Edwards, Zoe is just in spare time enjoys torturing Anthony Edwards, you know, biting him and stuff. But the movie has stuff like that. And then there's things where, you know, the kid from Big, okay, he's like basically this evil bully. And I like that they do carry over that element of the first movie, how like, it's kind of just like, that's prevalent in a lot of Stephen King stories. Even like It, where it's just like, this is just like a place where there's just bad vibes. And Clyde, the kid from Big, really he's just sinister and evil, a la kind of Henry Brown from It, you know? So he kind of mirrors that character a little bit. And this dude is just like straight up evil, man. He's evil. He just hates Jeff. And he just likes to torture him and antagonize him. Either way, Clancy Brown ends up murdering him with the motorcycle, which is like one of the best deaths. I mean, it's just like, he kills him with a motorcycle. His scarf gets caught in it, and he goes with the girliest scream, ah! And breaks his neck, and Clancy Brown gets this big spurf of blood on his face, and he goes, ah! And he goes, and kills him again. Either way, Clancy Brown buries him up at the Indian burial ground, but there's a problem with the story, because Clancy Brown and Clyde are not related, and you have to bury your own, so how does Clyde come back later on in the movie? Doesn't make any sense, but I don't think the filmmakers cared. And you know what? At this point, Pet Sematary 2 is so wacky, and it's so weird, it's so nuts that, you know what? I just said, you know what? I don't care that none of this makes any sense. I don't care that Edward Furlong's scream is very much annoying at 35 versus 11 or 10 years old when I saw the film. His scream is just excruciating. And he does it, I think, at least 4 or 5 times in the movie. Oh, God, it's bad. No disrespect, it's just a really, just, I can't even do the scream. I'll hurt my voice, but I can't stand it. But none of it makes any sense at all. But it's just a nutty movie. It's fun. And the thing what I love is that Anthony Edwards is totally selling this thing like he's on the episode of ER. Matter of fact, he's basically his character from ER dropped into a horror movie because he's a doctor. Well, he's a veterinarian here, so yeah, he's an animal doctor in this. And Anthony, he's so sweet. He's so sweet and he's so kind and he's so warm. Anthony Edwards he oozes that. And in the meantime, Clancy Brown, who before he turned into a zombie. And the one thing I want to say about Clancy Brown is how brilliant of an actor he is. Later on, digressing, him and Anthony Edwards did ER a couple years later together, and they had a bunch of scenes. And to look at them, their dynamic in this film, and then to see them do like this really serious emergency room drama, it just shows Clancy Brown is a fantastic actor, and so is Anthony Edwards. Because the comparison, watch that episode of ER, guys, with the two of them together, then watch Pet Sematary 2, and you'd see two brilliant, underrated actors at work. But what's good about Clancy Brown is he really makes his character in this movie seem like two different people. So when he's this really abusive, sadistic a-hole who likes to torture his son, he really just seems like an abusive a-hole with borderline sociopathic characteristics, which I believe, digressing in real life, that a lot of men in particular who beat their stepchildren, who beat their children, who abuse their wife, I do think they have sociopathic personality traits, borderline killer type stuff. That's my personal belief. Whatever, digressing. But when he turns into zombie Gus, he just seems different. Like, he seems like just an abusive a-hole versus this psychotic, sociopathic zombie from the grave. And it's really a trip how he can make one craziness look different from the other. That's how brilliant of an actor he is. It seems like two different crazies going on. It's brilliantly played, and he has fun with. Look, Clancy Brown knew this was trash, and he just said, "Hey, look, let's just have a ball." And it's also directed by Mary Lambert, who directed the first one. So all the thoughtfulness, the creep, like Zelda in the first one, whatever the kid, little Timmy who came back from the war, Fred Gwynn telling the stories with those creepy blue eyes, all that creepiness and chillness, and and Dale, Dale doing that, no, all that is gone here. It's just all that creepiness and all that seriousness and real adult melodrama of the first film. It's all gone here. Pascal doesn't even show up. It's just, none of that is here. So what you got left is you got the great Clancy Brown doing his Highlander routine, and you got the bat nuts crazy gore. And I will say, I really do love the score for this movie. The score is pretty good. Whatchamacallit, who did the first one, didn't come back, who did the music on Alien 3, some other pictures. So the creepiness is not really here. And also, this movie was made for kids. It was made for, pretty much for me, the people who saw it at the time, who were the age of the kids in the movie. This wasn't made for adults. I'm only assuming that probably the people who observed the showings and all that, they probably were just like, well, we tried to do this adult serious horror movie, it ain't working, so we might as well just make the damn thing for kids, since half the crowd that snuck into the movie were probably kids anyway. So this movie is strictly, all the way down to there's like all this 90s like alternative music, which I might add is very good. And I will say the classic is guys, I'm not familiar with all the alternative artists, but what's the song that they play in Natural Born Killers? You make my necklace. When Clancy Brown is just tearing apart his pet rabbits to cook them for dinner, and he's breaking their necks, and it's grand, y'all. And to play that song over it was brilliant. And that's how nutty this movie is. It's just nuts. It's nuts. So, all in all, Pet Sematary 2 is just a piss poor sequel. It's just bad. There's things in the story that don't make any sense, and it looks like they didn't care. But, like I said, it's grand, y'all. Clancy Brown is fun. The gore is fun. The alternative music is fun. The orchestral score is good. it's just a fun, goofy horror movie that you could watch with your buddies or your girlfriend who's not too sensitive to this kind of stuff. Kick back, have a beer or a cappuccino or whatever, and just laugh and have fun with this freak show, because this movie is nuts. And I probably imagine Mary Lambert came on board and said, this script is terrible, 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 terrible. Well, here's how we'll make it Pet Sematary 2. We'll just talk about things from the first film, just to remind you all that this actually is a sequel to Pet Sematary, because it sure as hell doesn't seem like it when you watch the movie. But whatever. It's the very epitome of fun trash. And I love every minute of this movie. I just do, man. It's great stuff, man. So, that's my review of Pet Sematary 2. I don't have anything else to say about this movie. Look, I'm a sucker for it. I got fond memories. I saw it at the drive-in when it came out. I know it's bad. I don't care it's bad. It's fun garbage. Thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and leave comments down below about Pet Sematary TWO 2 from 1992. RMJ Movie Reviews. I will be back with another happy holiday Halloween horror movie review soon, folks.